JEM is my name, no one else is the same. JEM is my name. JEM.
Hi, Andrew here. It's been a long road, but here we are. The final season of JEM and the Holograms. And it's only half the length of the previous seasons, so this favorite songs of season 3 should be easier, right? There's only 26 new songs to choose from. No, this was just as stressful and difficult for me to curate a top 5 favorite songs. I spent like 15 and a half hours sitting naked in the bottom of my tub as the hot water splashed against my head, trying to figure out which songs made the cut and which songs did not make the cut. My fingers were so pruned. So pruned. But I came up with a list of 5 songs that are my favorites from the season. And if you ask me tomorrow, it might change. So let's get going with my top 5 favorite songs from Season 3 of JEM and the Holograms. Number 1, Mind Games, The Stingers, Episode 61, That Old Houdini Magic. We have a new band this season, The Stingers. They good. They very good. If I had one complaint about the Stingers' sound, it's that they frequently like to harmonize Riot's lead melody an octave below. Why are you doing that? Well, it does give them a very unique and identifiable sound. They don't do that in Mind Games, which it might be one of the reasons why I like this song so much. Just a damn catchy song anyway, but instead of harmonizing far below, or even doubling far below, there are many passages in this that are doubled an octave high. For example, in the verses with the manipulation, you'll hear manipulation, intimidation, stipulation, whatever those words are doubled an octave higher. Manipulation, manipulation. Manipulation is the name of the game. Manipulation. Also, the bridge, you'll hear the da 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 da. You'll hear that an octave higher too. Suddenly the world seems out of joint. Oh, I also love the harmonies on the chorus. The mind games, mind games. The female vocals with the harmony on Mind Games. That sounds really nice. Mind games, mind games, mind games. Also, I really like the lyrics in here. It's got a very unique rhyme scheme. The verses have a B rhyme scheme, which you don't see a lot. So, manipulation is the name of the game. Manipulation. Other games look tame. The goal is control of your soul. It's like, oh, that's really nice. We got 3 rhymes in there. The only thing I might criticize is the first verse is manipulation. Da 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 da. Manipulation's the same word. It's like, okay, we're doing a motif of a large word with that ends in ation, doesn't necessarily have to rhyme. But in the second verse, I think it's the stipulation and intimidation that they rhyme, and that kind of retroactively breaks the first verse, which is a shame because there are so many words that rhyme with manipulation. There's a bunch of them you could use. Oh, one more thing I want to mention about Mind Games. The do-do-do-do-do at the end of the bridge. Don't you see, baby, that's the point. We're playing mind games. That works for me, and sometimes non-lyrical vocalizations don't. The reason this does is because it acts like a drum fill, a transition between the bridge and the final chorus. Where things like that fail is when it feels like the performer or lyricist needed to fill a line but couldn't think of any words to put there and like, do 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 do, you know. But this actually doesn't feel like that. Da 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 da. Don't you see, baby? That's the point. That's a complete phrase. It feels ended. We just have a do 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 do. Mind games, mind games. Like I said, it's a drum fill. It's a transition. It fits. Where it feels. Here's an example of one that feels like they just couldn't think of any lyrics to put in there. Back in season 2, I believe, "Let Me Take You to the Mardi Gras." Let me take you to the Mardi Gras. Fa la 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 la. You know.
Let me take you to the Mardi Gras. Fa la 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 la.
Unless fa la la tra la la actually has some relevance or significance to the Mardi Gras that I'm unaware of, it feels like they just couldn't think of any lyrics to put there, which is kind of weird because at the end of the song they actually, instead of saying fa la la, they do a repeat. Let me take you to the Mardi Gras. You're gonna love the Mardi Gras. And it's like, oh, okay, that's great. This season, season 3, in the Midsummer Night's Madness song in the Midsummer Night's Madness episode, has a bunch of la 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 la's in it, but it doesn't feel like they forgot what the words were and are just filling time. It's the la la la's are actually the backup vocals, and the lead melody starts. A call and response starts interacting and playing with the backup vocals, and it works really, really well.
Turning the world upside down. La la la.
So that's why I did not mind the do 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 in Mind Games. Okay, I have said my piece. Moving on to number 2.
Mind games, mind games, mind games, there's no way to escape. Mind games.
Number 2, You'll Never Win My Love. JEM and the Holograms, episode 57, Beauty and the Rock Promoter. This is it. This is my favorite of the season. I love this song. I love this episode. It helps that I'm a complete mark for musicals and rock operas. So, there's that. I really admire the way that this particular song really nails that rock opera feel with the thumping quarter note bass and the fairly pulled back musical soundscape. There's not much. There's a boom, 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 boom. The thumping bass. There's minimal percussion on the drums. There's a little guitar lick going on, but it's mostly the lead vocals, and you'll see that a lot in especially stage musicals. It allows the performers room to navigate, because if the score is too complicated and too dense and too complex, you get really locked into one particular way to do it. But when it's a little simpler, it allows you room to improvise in a way. You can speed up, you can slow down, you can follow the intention of the performance much better. So it really nails that sound, the structure and sound. It doesn't have the typical American pop song structure of verse chorus. There's no real chorus in here. There's an A section and a B section. They use the refrain of "You'll Never Win My Love" rather than an actual chorus, because in musicals, ostensibly this is how people communicate, and you typically don't communicate with a chorus, restating your thesis repeatedly. You know, it would be really weird if you kept repeating yourself like that. So that's often why, although they do use refrains to, keep the hook off in the title of the song going. And it works really well here. And I, also just from a video standpoint, I love how they keep this grounded as a stage performance. The camera pulls back at parts to show that they're still on a stage. I also just like the blocking with the low angle shots of the beast, and it's just really fun. It was tough between this and Let Me Go, which is the duet she has with the beast.
Let me go, set me free, and let me fly.
If you go, don't you know that I will die?
Because I really love that, because it's so cool hearing those two sing together, but I just feel this is the better song. It's also just a really cleverly put together song. You might think, okay, well, if we're not doing the typical verse chorus thing, and it's got a very minimal musical soundscape, you know, with just with the thump 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 thump, you know, and just the guitar lick and minimal drums. How do you keep interest throughout the song? And the way they accomplish it in this song is really nice. They just keep building. And what I mean by that is the first A section. You'll never win my love, da 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 da. JEM sings by herself.
You'll never win my love, coming on so strong.
But in the second A section, the next two lines, the refrain, "You'll never win my love," it is harmonized above. The chorus sings with her to thicken that sound.
You'll never win my love, acting cruel and mean.
And then at the end of the phrase, the backup comes in with the woo and the I.
You'll never win my love unless you change your routine. If you abuse me, you'll only lose me.
And they also double her on the last part of the B section. And then it key changes into a new A section.
You'll never get anywhere. What are you thinking of?
And they modify the next A section. So da 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 da. That's how the A section goes, but in the A section after the key change, he goes da 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 da. Instead of going back down, it goes da 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 da.
What are you thinking of when you act unkind? You'll never win my love.
So it's building like that, and then they get into the final B sections where the chorus joins in for the whole thing. Mwah! It's beautiful. It's lovely. I love the song. It's my favorite. And no one will convince me otherwise.
If you abuse me, you'll only lose me. You'll never win my love.
Number 3. Now, JEM and the Holograms, the Misfits, and the Stingers. Episode 55, The Stingers Hit Town, Part 2. When I heard that a new band was being added to the cast of JEM and the Holograms, I was like, oh man, I hope we get a collaboration song between all three bands. That would be epic! And we get 2 of them! We get this one, and then we get This Is Farewell at the end of the season, and this one, to me, just knocks it straight out of the park. It is wonderful. It's too short, like all the songs, but it's... for only being a little over a minute long, it just absolutely nails a 3-band collaboration. It does a wonderful job of, not only does it give equal time to all of the bands, the first 3 sections, you know, JEM gets her own section, then the Stingers get their own full section, then the Misfits get their own section, and then the next section is traded off between the 3, and then the last section, each one takes a line with all of them harmonizing at the very end. That's perfectly done. No one gets left out. Everyone gets their chance to shine. It's great. The song also does a really wonderful job of capturing the sound of each individual group. You have the more relaxed and pleasant stylings of JEM and the Holograms. Then you have the smoother rock of the Stingers, and then you get into the harder, more abrasive, edged rock of the Misfits. And even with their own stylish thumbprints that are indicative or representative of each band. For instance, the Stingers section, for example, does that thing I was talking about where it's harmonized it's doubling the melody an octave low. I don't care for that, but it definitely does give them a very unique and identifiable sound that was first used in the first thing you hear out of them, the Stingers theme. So it's like, oh, that's not only am I hearing the male voice, I'm hearing that doubling an octave lower. That's the Stingers right there. And with you have pizzazz with the yeah.
We got it under control. Yeah.
And breaking the harmony to speak sing.
Now our luck will change somehow. Our time.
So really wonderfully done. They really managed to capture the character of each band. Also, the song does a really wonderful job of. This comes at the end of the 2-part season opener, and it does a wonderful job of setting the stage. Here's where setting the chessboard. Here's where all of our characters are right now. Now we're ready to move on in the rest of the season. This song does an amazing job, I feel, of just getting you excited to see what's coming throughout the last 10 episodes. It's short, what can you do? JEM and the Holograms tried to sign on the Stingers, and they lost. They lost that contract to Eric Bad Guy, and they had some internal squabblings, but as they say, fences are mended, the arguments ended. They're all good, and they're going to move on, arm in arm. They're happy. The Stingers, they won. They're like, we got what we wanted, and we're on our way to the top, and we're taking everything over. The Misfits, they had some issues. They're now no longer top dog, and Pizzazz has a crush on Riot, and she left the Misfits, but they got back together at the end, and now this song intimates that they're together and they're going to keep going. Their group, they actually do love each other more than they let on and need each other, and they're moving on from there. So really wonderful way to start off the season with, especially with the new band. It's also a really catchy tune.
Now our luck will change somehow. Our time is now.
Number 4, Destiny, The Stingers, Episode 59, Midsummer Night's Madness. Many of you were surprised that I didn't mention this song when I reviewed the episode itself. I was too. It's really a great song, and I really do like it. I just got caught up in the plot and the interpersonal shenanigans that ensued throughout that episode. But yeah, Destiny's great. Next. No, I'll talk about it a bit. I really, really like that Rapture and Minx have more of a musical role than you might expect. I would have expected, based on the Holograms and the Misfits, that Rapture and Minx's role musically would be no larger than any of the other backup singers of the Holograms or the Misfits. They're never featured. They're there. There's harmony parts. You can hear it. But very often, no more explicit than in Destiny, but very often Rapture and Minx will very much call attention to themselves and have a place. A lot of fans of the Stingers' music will have a bunch of moments. They're like, I love when Rapture or Minx do this in the song. It's so cool. is there any JEM and the Hologram series fan who's like, oh, I love when Kimber does this one thing in this song, or when Aja has these... No. Or when Stormer has it... No. I mean, maybe Jetta's sax solo, but other than that, no. And it's really great, because this song starts out... both verses are given to Rapture and Minx. Rapture has the first verse all to herself, and then Riot just sashays in with the chorus. It's destiny. And then the second verse, Rapture and Minx both take a line, and then they duet on the final line of the verse, and it's wonderful.
I share your conviction. The same thing goes for me. All the plans and schemes are more than fantasy.
So that's very, very cool. This is also another song where the Riot's melody on the chorus is harmonized underneath. Not always a full octave double, although that is in there, but it's just harmonized below the melody. And I don't know why. It's so weird. Because some of the, it's destiny. You would think that the harmony part would be the third above, but no, it's down here. It's the same note. It's F, and then the harmony part would be A. You'd think they'd be this A. No, they're this A down here. This is a third. This is nice to the... Hang on. Alright, so... It's destiny! Right? You would expect the harmony part to be, right? A third above the melody. That's not what it does, though. It's not... It's down here. So you have... It's the same harmony part, we're just putting it below the melody. This is a third. This is an augmented fifth. That's a weird interval. I don't know why it's harmonized like that. I mean, it definitely gives the Stingers their own unique sound, and it's not unpleasant to listen to. It's just weird to my ear, I think, because I'm a barbershopper, so I naturally prefer the close harmony. It's still a great song, and I really like it.
You and me is destiny. Fate is on my side.
Number 5. This is a tough one for me, because I'm torn between two different songs. Both ballads. One by JEM and the Holograms, and one by the Stingers. And they're both good, and they both have their own strengths and weaknesses. And I keep going back and forth on which one I want to pick for my top 5. And you could say, Andrew, it's your list. You could just make it a top 6. But no, I will stick to my guns, because guns are sticky. It's stuck. And I will do my top 5 favorite songs. So one will be in my top 5, and one will be slightly outside of it. But which one? Which ballad? JEM and the Holograms or the Stingers? The Stingers or JEM and the Holograms? Oh god, I've been stressing over this choice for a week. Or 2 or 3. Okay. I can do this. I can be decisive. Let's go. Number 5. Under My Spell, The Stingers. Episode 60, The Day the Music Died. What? No Misfits song in your top 5? hey, it's not their fault. They only had two new songs this season. That's some rough competition. Both the Stingers and the Holograms had 10 each. JEM also had an 11th, if you want to consider the collaboration with the Beast, an 11th JEM song. So with only 8% of of this season's discography, that's tough to make the top 10 when out of 26 new songs you've only got 2 of them. But I genuinely do really quite like Top of the Charts and Lovesick. If this were a top 10, they'd definitely be in there, but it's not. It's a top 5. So, yeah, the one I was, the 2 songs I was between was Under My Spell and Falling in Love with a Stranger. Both really solid damn ballads. It's interesting. I kept going back and forth because there are things I think that Falling in Love with a Stranger actually does better. I think I find Under My Spell's melody a lot more memorable and a lot more catchy. You know, you have the what are those, B flat? That progression there, that's really easy to remember. It's got that wonderful piano ostinato that underlies the entire A section of the song. So while the melody is really memorable, I find the melody more interesting, especially on the ends of phrases in Falling in Love with a Stranger.
All at once, your life strikes out in a bold new direction.
Falling in Love with a Stranger has the better ending. Under My Spell's ending is fine. It's obvious and kind of ends.
Under my spell, under my spell.
Falling in Love with a Stranger does this wonderful thing where it adds an extra measure into the last bit that you don't see coming. It's just really cool. So you have or initially it'd be Falling in Love with a Stranger can strangely be alright.
Falling in love with a stranger can strangely be alright.
But at the very end it says you fell in love with a stranger and a stranger da da da. It doesn't do that. The stranger is the stranger to da 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 da. So really, really cool.
Falling in love with a stranger, but the stranger is no stranger to your heart.
Also, thematically, I like Falling in Love with a Stranger better. Under My Spell is a little controlling and possessive for my taste. Although the lyrics of the B section by themselves are quite nice. Falling in Love with a Stranger, even though I personally don't believe in love at first sight. Lust at first sight? Yes. Love? No. But that's just me. So I find what the song is talking about, if not relatable, at least a lot more palatable. But still, I feel that Under My Spell is much more memorable. It's as I mentioned, it's got that wonderful build on the A section. That's really easy to remember. The wonderful piano ostinato, and there's this wonderful contrast between the A section and the B section. The A section has that piano ostinato under it. You have the da 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 da, and you get to the B section. It goes into this eighth note chord slam, ba da da ba 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 ba, and it's like, oh man, it's great.
You and me, living free in a world that sounds all wrong. You and me.
So there's this wonderful contrast between the A and B section, which the Falling in Love with a Stranger doesn't have. There's nothing wrong with its bridge or the differences between the verses and the chorus. It's just not as contrasty and distinct and memorable. Falling in Love with a Stranger is something I have to actually really think about to remember what the melody and the various pieces are. Under My Spell is just in my head. So that's why I gave it the nod. Also, Under My Spell, I think of all the Stinger songs, does the best job at harmonizing Riot's lead vocals. The harmony is a lot closer than it is in other songs. Instead of being, an augmented fifth or a full octave below where he's singing, it dances around where he is. Sometimes it's above.
You and me finally in a place where they will leave you alone.
Sometimes it's below, but it's right with him, and it sounds gorgeous.
Under my spell, it's easy to tell.
So, Under My Spell. Yep.
Under my spell, under my spell.
So there you have it, my favorite songs of Season 3 of JEM and the Holograms. There is no Season 4, so I guess this is the end for the Middle-Aged Man Watches series. Wow, I've been doing this since April. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you have too. While there will, of course, there's no episode 66 and there's no season 4, so there will be no more JEM episodes on every Monday and Thursday. But this is not the last I'll have to say on the topic of JEM. There's some other things I want to talk about. So keep an eye out for that in the future sometime. Don't know when. But until then, thanks for watching.